All right, folks. Now, when it comes to Sisters, one of the photos that got revealed, um, look, they've really done so much for this mid-season in terms of promos. The TV line interviews, the photos from the actual mid-season finale. But the photo I want to talk about today is the one of we have Andi and Karen over at the penthouse. And the question is, okay, what's going on here? Now, in the promo, I think, we see Karen and Andy's like, is everything okay? And I think Karen's like, no, it's not. And I'm guessing this because it's kind of like the same thing where, okay, why is Andi taking Danny to dinner? Is this about the whole Fatima bringing up that Karen could have more than one baby daddy? It couldn't just be Zach's, it could possibly be Aaron's as well. Or is this obviously Gary related? It was Gary related. We didn't even get to see the full dinner on screen. We got way too much time with that Maurice Calvin Q shit. But in this situation, I feel like again we're in a case where it could be two reasons behind Karen showing up. One could be because, well, we see her going over to Danny's place. It's probably her going on a pity party tour about Zach and Fatima's like, I went over there and Zach has his house and everything. First of all, I wonder if Danny or Andy's going to ask Karen, why were you over at that house? Danny a real one. I feel like Danny's going to ask that question. But it could either be about the Zach situation, that woman, Fatima. Yeah, Fatima was over there too. And, he has this house and everything, and I just can't take it. Or could this be about her going to Andi to let her know, hey, tomorrow morning, that's when I had the doctor's appointment. Aaron already set it up, and I want you to be there. So as a result, Andi knows that, hey, tomorrow morning, I need to free my schedule so I can actually go to the hospital with my friend to make sure everything's okay with this baby. And I'm wondering if she's going to see Aaron there and kind of put two and two together, because what's going to haunt, I feel like the voice in her head is going to be like what Fatima said about, well, Zach told me she was messing around with that preacher man around the same time that they had sex. So it's quite possible that he's the baby daddy as well. So I could see Andy's face kind of go when she sees Aaron there with Karen at the hospital too. Because even if, let's say, I'm just going to throw this out here, what if she asks Andi to give her a lift to the hospital? Aaron's still going to show up because, yeah, who cares if he goes to the salon and Karen isn't there, because let's say she doesn't call him. His people, he arranged this entire thing. His people will talk to him. So I think that what's going to happen is they're going to have that conversation about the whole baby situation, but also the whole Zach and Fatima thing. And Andy's like, well, I don't want to be in the middle of this. Well, you are. And here's the thing. Earlier this season, I mean really early, I think in the parking garage after the whole Rolls Royce situation, where Karen's like, yeah, I think I do need to step back and move away from Zach since he's moved on. And you're going to do the same thing too with Gary, right? Meaning that I remember talking about this. It was like episode 3 or so. It was early in season 4. And I'm like, the way Karen made it sound, it's like, I recognize what I need to do, and that's to leave Zach alone. But then you're going to leave Gary too alone, right? You're going to leave Gary too, right? It's almost as if there's a solidarity or accountability thing where, yeah, I know I shouldn't, smoke any more cigarettes, but you need to start going to the gym, right? Basically in the same vein of, well, hey, you can't tell me nothing if you see me smoking a cigarette in the next couple of days if I didn't see your ass going to Planet Fitness like you said you were. So it's almost like, somebody in the comments, like, it's apples and oranges thing where you see what Karen's doing, where it's like, well, hey, Andi, don't tell me shit about running behind Zach when he's with Fatima when you haven't left Gary alone. The situations are different, so you really can't compare the two. It's just dumb. It's like, well, if I'm not doing what I know I should be doing for the betterment of me, then Andi, you can't do the same thing. It's like the accountability thing of, to use the example of, going to heaven, like if you go before the Lord, you get judged, and it's like, well, yes, Jason, you didn't go to church, you didn't, whatever, you got saved when you were like 6, but you never went to church or anything along those lines. Yeah, well, my mom, she will always go to church. But when it comes to being judged, or basically in life, your actions, consequences, it doesn't matter whose fault it is. You can point the finger at this person, you can point the finger at that person, but if you took an active role in the detriment of your life, I'm not saying everything has to be fatal or anything, but basically in Karen's case, you spent all this time chasing after a man who doesn't want you anymore. He don't want to be with you no more. He don't love you no more. Because what got me in the promo is like, well, he said he loved me. He said it. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I mean, there's a mix between, okay, people are really like this in real life versus Tyler Perry lack of continuity. It's just one of those things that I'm just like, I can't believe what I'm hearing right now. So I don't know who she's going to go to first. Is she going to go to Andi or Danny? My guess is that she'll go to Andi first and then Danny second. That's just a guess. I don't know. It's just one of those things where it seems like she's more so flustered when she goes to Andi as opposed to when she goes to Danny. It's kind of like in the same vein of, well, we saw that Andi went to Karen before having dinner with Danny. So I guess they both go to the friend who they know was going to tell them the real advice. But it's like, well, you can't tell me anything. Look at your life. So then they go to Danny as the last resort, as the real one. So I don't know. I just feel like the conversation is going to focus on Gary, because I think Karen's probably going to show up after Gary had already been there, but only time will tell. It's just one of those situations where I'm going to go into this episode open-minded, but really the only part I'm excited for is when Fatima pops in on Hayden and Gary with the bat. Everything else, we'll just have to wait and see. So I can't wait to do a live stream after the episode to talk to everybody about it. But let me know your thoughts. What could Andi and Karen be talking about in the mid-season finale? Do you think she's going to bring up the doctor's appointment? Do you think this is just going to be focused on Zach/Fatima and Gary? Only time will tell. But it's just one of those things where, yeah, going to the penthouse probably going to suck, because think of it this way. Karen couldn't even bring herself to step foot in Zach's new home, and yet she goes over to a woman whose ex-lover is, she's literally standing in the penthouse that her best friend's ex-lover bought her. So she'll probably be looking around like, this is what I deserve, because I have a feeling I'm going to be doing a lot of ranting tonight, so we'll have to wait and see. But thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button to show you liked the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit the bell icon to select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.